Prime Minister.
We welcome Europe. Does Europe welcome Israel? We welcome you, Donald. It's a great pleasure to welcome you back to Jerusalem. I've known you for many years. You've been a great friend of Israel, of the Jewish people, and may I say of me personally. And it's a pleasure always to see you. I have a belief that your visit here as president of the European Council can do a lot of good for our relationship. We have great opportunities. We live in a world that is being revolutionized by innovation. Israel is one of the great centers of innovation in the world. Everything from information to energy to cybersecurity to medical devices to biotechnology and everything else. Big data, 3D printing, everything. Israel is a tremendous hub of intellectual energy, which is turned into intellectual products, which means products of the mind that become vastly valuable in the modern marketplace. I think that the future belongs to those who innovate. We innovate. Europe can be, and in some cases is, our partners for innovation. And this is something that seizes the future and I believe should form a great partnership. Equally, we're challenged. We're challenged by the opposite of modernity, which is a barbaric medievalism, early medievalism, primitive, savage, murderous, that comes from the two sources of militant Islam, the militant Sunnis led by Daesh and the militant Shiites led by Iran. Daesh uses swords to decapitate people. Iran wishes to develop atomic bombs to threaten millions. And we believe that both of them are moving into the ruins of shattered states in the Middle East. And from here they want to establish each their own Islamic empire. They fight each other. Who will be the king of this empire? But make no mistake about it. Whom they target is first us, other Muslims too, of course, Christians and so on, but then you. Iran is building ICBMs for Europe, not for us. We're on the same continent. They can reach us already. They're building intercontinental missiles for Europe and for the United States, and we believe that this is a common problem. Equally, because of the onslaught of militant Islam in the Middle East and in Africa, Europe is facing the waves, a tsunami of people tragically fleeing from the worst crimes that humanity has seen since the Holocaust. And we believe that there's much we can do together. I've discussed with Prime Minister Renzi of Italy the possibility of cooperating in sub-Saharan Africa with Italy, but with other European countries, to deal with the problem at the source, to strengthen African governments in agriculture, in the economy, in communications, in security, in energy, to prevent the collapse of those societies and the suffering that accompanies the people who are seeking to flee for their lives to Europe. So I think that there is much that common challenges that we face. And in this regard, I find it perplexing that some in Europe are still possessed by the anti-Israeli obsession. Nothing is happening. Hundreds of thousands are being slaughtered in the Middle East. Millions are being displaced. But some in Europe believe the only thing they have to do is to press, boycott, and vilify the Middle East's only true democracy, Israel. The only vanguard of liberty, the only country where human rights are respected, where there is a free press, and where the values that we share with Europe serve as our map and our compass and our way of life. I find this inexplicable, but I find it also to the detriment of Europe. We are the guardians of civilization here in the heart of the Middle East against this new barbarism. And I want to discuss with you, as I've discussed with other European leaders, and will discuss with him, how Europe and Israel can cooperate to assure the progress of modernity for all the peoples of the Middle East, for peace with all our neighbors, but also for the sake of our common future, and to see if we can steer Europe into a more productive course rather than the one that seeks to unilaterally press Israel into agreements that will endanger our very existence and therefore your very defense. This is a small order for our conversation, which I look forward to. I want to welcome you again in the spirit of great friendship that has always characterized our relationship when you are leading Poland, and now you're in the important position of being one of the leaders of Europe, and I believe we can extend that friendship even further. So welcome to Jerusalem, my friend.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, dear friend. Let me first say how glad I am to be here on my first visit to Israel as President of the European Council.
Yeah.
And of course, the most important thing for me is our discussion. Thank you very much for welcoming me. As you know, our meeting takes place at a very challenging time for the Middle East and for the Europe. Devastating conflicts continue in many countries with serious consequences across the borders. Failed or failing states, extremist movements and terrorists like Daesh. So much human suffering, so many fleeing conflict and terror, and so little peace, democracy, prosperity, and rule of law. Israel has vital national interests at stake, interests which the EU is helping to safeguard with concrete actions. And I think that we have to avoid words like boycott, because for sure this is not the intention of Europe, and I'm absolutely sure that there's no country in Europe which wants to boycott Israel or you know, it's for me it's absolutely obvious and clear that in fact the essence of our relationship this is quite opposite.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. And of course I'm keen to discuss how we can further work together to address these challenges in Europe and in your region, which affect us all. One way to do so is to revive the Middle East peace process. I know that this is very demanding and very difficult process, and nothing is here black and white, and I'm fully aware that it needs patience and time. I have no doubt. The European Union sees no alternative to a negotiated two-state solution. We are trying to understand the arguments of both sides and are ready to support all the positive actions in that regard. This is why we are worried that the peace process has stalled and is not moving forward as we would like. This evening I will be talking with Prime Minister Netanyahu about how to bring life back to this process, and I hope that it is possible. I also hope to discuss the agreement reached with Iran in July. The common view in Europe is that it may lead to a breakthrough in the relations between Iran and the international community. But a real breakthrough in the long-term perspective will not be sustainable if Iran does not change its attitude towards Israel. The security of Israel must remain one of our European priorities. It is also my wish that the voice of Israel in the debate on the implementation of the nuclear agreement with Iran is both heard and respected in Europe.
Thank you.
Our meeting will also be an opportunity to talk about bilateral cooperation between Israel and the European Union. As you know, our relations are among the most developed with a non-European country. The European Union is Israel's biggest trading partner, and we enjoy close relations in many fields. Only recently we signed agreements on research cooperation, the EU's Horizon 2020 program, and liberalized our aviation markets, the Open Skies Agreement. These agreements create huge benefits for both of us, Europe and Israel. And let me conclude by saying that Israel matters greatly to the European Union. The European Union is Israel's friend and partner in good times and in bad times. And you know, Bibi, that when I say it, I really mean it.
Yes, I do.
Perhaps what I say is different from the picture that some try to paint, but when you look at the facts, I'm sure you will agree with me. Thank you again, and again, I'm very happy that I can see you here in Jerusalem.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.